What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more on the HermitPack. Now, I've been on here for quite some time now, prepping for today's episode, just getting everything kind of situated, doing a little bit of crafting, a little bit of building, all that good stuff. But luckily, the one thing I have not been doing is gathering resources. So you might not know, but most of you probably should know, that every episode up until now, I usually did about an hour to 2 hours of mining before actually recording, because I needed to gather all the resources necessary to craft the machines, or really whatever we were going to be using that episode. And while that doesn't seem too bad, I would be able to watch one or two shows on Netflix, it was a little bit of a pain in the butt. So luckily, the Void Ore Miner has saved me from needing to do any of that. If we look in this chest, you can see there's a lot of stuff in here, a lot of good stuff. This is the stuff we want, except for like the appetite. We don't want that, but everything else we kind of want. It's good stuff in here. So if you don't know what the Void Ore Miner does, we set it up last episode, and it basically turns power into ore, and you can specify sort of what ore you want a little bit. You can influence maybe a couple % out of the chance of getting it, but for the most part, you just get some random ore, and so that is what is in this chest right here. I went AFK for a couple hours, I let this thing run, and this is what we got. So I don't know if it's just stopped running. I assume it stopped running because the chest is full. I don't really know when we hit the full capacity, but it's gotten us a lot of stuff and has saved me so much time. It's not even funny how much this has saved me, because today we are going to be doing our refined storage setup, as you could probably tell from what's in my inventory right now, and that costs a lot to start making. It takes a lot of iron to do, which we really have quite a surplus of iron, but it requires that we use the quartz enriched iron, and that requires a lot of nether quartz, and it also requires a lot of these advanced processors, which need diamonds. So all in all, not a very cheap thing to set up, cheaper than Applied Energistics 2, and that is what we're going to talk about right now, because I kind of not lied to you guys, because I really did believe it last episode, but I thought we were going to set up an AE2 system, and a lot of you guys were like, yeah, that's great, we love AE2, all that good stuff, it's more complicated than refined storage. But then even more people said they wanted to see refined storage, and I guess I kind of get it. It's a little bit of a newer mod, it's a very simplified version, it doesn't require as much investment to kind of get started and manage. So if you don't already know, refined storage does not have the channel system, and basically that is what in Applied Energistics 2 only allowed you to hook a certain amount of things up to one cable. I believe the regular cables could only have 8 channels, and then there was one that had 64, so it just kind of made it a little bit of a hassle when wiring stuff. And then you also had to have crafting storage and all this different stuff that's just kind of eliminated in refined storage. So the nice thing about this is setting it up, we'll be able to do a lot more, a lot faster, and eventually if we want to move on to AE2 we can. But for now, we're going to do refined storage and see where that takes us. I've been informed that the lag issues should be non-existent, specifically because they were minimized a lot in a recent update. And along with that, it's only me on here, unlike on the Hermitcraft server where there's a lot of guys that would be using it. And when you have upwards of 10 guys using it at the same time, then you're going to get a lot of lag. So hopefully we have no issues with it, but we should be good to go with basically everything we're going to do today, which is start from the ground up. We're going to construct the basic parts of this, and then we're going to do some auto crafting using the solderer, and then see if we can do a little bit more auto crafting after that, which should be pretty interesting. And it just occurred to me that I was going to say we have like no inventory space, but those were not stacked, because I was going to say I had 4 crafters and we lost one. So one thing I want to note before we get into this is if we look below the floor, I kind of redid the facade on the floor so that it runs along here, since of course all of our machines will be going right along here. It's not just going to be a huge wall of machines, there will be stuff to make it look a little bit less gross there, but once we start setting them up, they'll be divided into little like clumps throughout this wall. So I thought it'd be good to run this along here, and then we brought it all the way over here because this is where we are going to be. Oh no. Oh no. This is, oh no. Okay, well this is an even number of, this is unacceptable. This is an even number of blocks right here. Okay, this needs to be changed. This is awful. Okay, I did not realize that. That's an even number of blocks right there. And if you don't know, building with an even number of blocks is never good. And on top of that, if you guys know Wells Knight, his rule is never mix even and odd. Okay, that's never the way to go about it. And you can already see that this right here is a problem. but we've got odd right here, and everything else should be odd in this building, but that is even. So this needs to be fixed right here before we even start jumping into things, which means this needs to be changed right here, and we just have no inventory room. This is an awful time for me to realize this. Okay, so that gets fixed right there. This gets fixed right here, and get all these blocks out of here, and we need to fix this. So this will be brought over. The nice thing, I guess, is this will count as some of the building for today's episode. So, yeah. Something interesting that, you know, a little tidbit about my life. I don't actually have any class today. Well, I have one class. It was my differential equations class. And I actually have a story to tell you guys about that. But we just got a text message alert for our campus that classes past 2 p.m. were canceled because we're getting a fair bit of snow, which I guess is a nice thing. You guys probably would get this because you're probably around the same age as me, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger, but I used to love snow so much, so much, because it was like, oh, you get a day off school, you don't have to do work, all this good stuff. But then you get to an age where it's your job to shovel the snow, and you start kind of hating it a little bit more. You don't really like it as much, because it's no longer I get to sleep in until like 4 p.m. and then wake up and do absolutely nothing for the rest of the day because it's a snow day. It becomes you got to wake up early and shovel the driveway before your parents leave for work. So, yeah, but now I can enjoy it because I don't actually have to do any of that. Ooh, now this is going to bother me too. You know what? It's whatever. It's whatever. We're fine there. Okay, so we'll worry about that later. But yeah, so we're getting a fair bit of snow here, and I don't have to shovel it, so I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts. But thought I'd let you guys in on that little tidbit of information. So now what we need to do is start setting this up. So the first thing we need to do is set up the controller, and it occurred to me too that the power is not properly run right now because it's going under there. So we're going to have to alter this a little bit, but my main goal is actually going to be, let's get rid of that right there. We'll replace the facade, and then we'll place this down right here. So the facade can go there, and unfortunately, we don't have one more facade to bring it over here, but really, it's not the worst thing in the world to just run it like that. So this is now getting our power. We don't even need to see this. Eventually, I might just move it back one if we want more space, but I've got a pretty good idea of how I want to set this up in here so that we fill up the whole wall. I want to have like disk drives on both sides of this. I think those will look really cool. But for now, we only have one, unfortunately. They're not the cheapest thing in the world to make, and until I fortune or process all the diamond ore down there, we really don't have that much. So we'll put this down right here because, of course, it has to be connected. We've got our discs somewhere in here. There we go. Nice thing is that it keeps everything in it while we're moving it. I love the fact that this looks three-dimensional, too. I love that. And I think it was Exuma, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Wells' videos, a lot of Exuma's videos, playing on the HermitPack, and one of them had this cool idea to kind of make it look aesthetically pleasing and just mix and match a lot of the discs and kind of randomly put them around so it looks realistic. And while that looks nice and I'd love to do that, that would kill my OCD. It would absolutely ruin me, so we're not going to do that. Just thought I'd point that out. It's a cool design choice. So what we're going to do is we are going to take the crafting monitor, the crafting grid, and the pattern grid, and all these are going to get stacked here. So the crafting grid is the most important. That is the one we are going to normally access. And side note, if you did notice, I did toggle my UI to be large instead of auto so we can see a lot more. Just something that I forgot to do because obviously when you switch between regular Minecraft with your own mod pack to the FTB launcher, launching a certain mod pack, the options all get lost, and I forgot to switch this one. But yeah, so that should make things a little bit nicer for us now. But the next thing we're going to do is come up one and throw down the pattern grid. And lastly, we are going to throw down the crafting monitor. The crafting monitor is not at all mandatory, but it's nice because if you do run into some halt in your crafting, you're auto crafting something, you can see what you need, what's going on, all that good stuff, in case there is a backup somewhere or it just, completely stops. So a nice thing to have, yes. Necessary, absolutely not. We also have right here the grid for a pattern. Now, while this is all well and good if you've got, let's say we want the pattern for, oak wood turning into oak wood planks. Perfectly fine, you'd get that and you'd throw these patterns in here and you click down and then you have your pattern that can get thrown in a crafter. But unfortunately, if you have a processing pattern that needs to go through something, such as something going through solderers, then you need to make it in the processing pattern encoder. And the only downside of this is we've used up all these blocks in the center here, so it's going to have to go to the side somewhere, and which that kind of means that eventually I'm going to want to have something to match this. But one thing that I've noticed is I don't think this needs to actually be attached. So it does not have any power. You can use it without it being attached to anything. So realistically, this could go anywhere. I could put it right here in front of this, which I actually might end up doing. We might just end up putting it right here, because it does not need to actually be attached to any of this. And so we'll put the disk drives up the side to give us a ton of storage eventually, and then that can sit right there. Or we could just move the controller back. It doesn't really matter to me, but any of that is fine. So we're going to be using this today because this is the processing pattern encoder. And the reason you'd need this is because if you were to take, let's say you take a piece of silicon in here, whether it's, the refined storage one or the Ender IO, you come up here and you throw it in right here. It does not give you anything out because there's nothing being processed. Like, this is not a recipe. It needs to be processed. It's not just a crafting bench recipe. So you need the processing pattern encoder because it's a process required to do it. So that's what we're going to be using this for right here. So if we were to take the silicon out of here, and we're going to use the Ender IO one, we could make it compatible with both if we wanted to. We've got that, and then we come in here and we grab out, not the basic processor, but our printed silicon, which we get from that, and put it in there, and we could make a pattern. So this is going to need, I'm going to clear this, and we're going to make it 1 because that would just flip me out. So it's going to go 1 to 1, and then we can throw our pattern in here, and click down, and then we have input 1, out 1, and we are good to go on that pattern. Now what we need to do is take the solderers and put them down. We only need 3. I don't really know why I have 4. I just crafted 1 too many, but I'm gonna put these over here. So we'll go 1, 2, I guess we can go 1, 2, 3 and stack them up. It's gonna bother me that it's only gonna be 3 right there. Trying to think about how I want to do this. We can put them right here for now and they should be fine. It's going to bother me that we're going to be able to see everything behind them too, but we could put them over here somewhere if we really wanted to. Honestly, I really don't know. Let's put them over here for now. No, we're not doing that. We're putting them over here. If I need more space in the back, we'll knock this wall back one like we did over here, which I probably should do eventually, but we'll put them right here. And then we're going to take the crafters and we're going to put them behind these. Now, I don't know. You need to place them a certain way so they kind of attach on because I don't have a wrench with me right now. So let's see if this is how we want to do this. I know I should just make the wrench. I might cave and do that. Okay, so that's backwards right there, which means we probably want to place it the other way against these back blocks right here. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. I believe they need to be oriented the correct way. Yeah, so facing in right here would be like this. I don't know if they need to be facing in this way, but every time I've used them, they've been like this. So, gonna break this one. Nope. Move this block back right here. So, can we place that one down correctly? Yeah, we can. So these need to get hooked up then, and I believe we should be able to just use regular cable, but we also need to, okay, yeah, we actually can't place these here. They actually will not work if we place them here because of how we need to attach these. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to place them, this is a problem, see, because we need to put importers on the sides of the solderers, and the crafters also need to go onto the solderers. So this is kind of a dilemma right here. Just not even with this wall being too small, but how I'm trying to place them in here. And so I'm trying to quickly think of this, how we can do this. We could just do, we could do them along the bottom here and put the crafters. Yeah, so we can do this. Along the bottom here, we can put the crafters on the top, which means we could easily take these 4 tiles right here, put them up here. It'd only be 3. And then, can we get this placed correctly? I should just make a wrench. Honestly, how hard is it to make the Yeta wrench? That one works perfectly fine with this. How expensive is this? Electrical steel? Okay, well, I don't have electrical steel with me right now. So we're going to figure out a way to make this work. Here we go. Come down here. This should work. Yes, yes, yes. There we go. Okay, we'll have the wrench made for next episode. I apologize for that. And then I'll figure out what we're going to do up top, if it'll just be more random stuff or what. Where's that slime? Oh, he's right outside the door. Okay, so these go here, and then we're throwing the importers on the back. Now, this confuses a lot of people because, and it is odd when you first think about it, like importer. Oh, I'm importing stuff to a machine. No, you're actually thinking about it with respect to your system. So you're importing stuff into your refined storage system from these. So that's what the importer does, and it's readily apparent when you put it down because you can easily see that these are pulling out. If you think about it like a hopper, it is directing stuff to this cable right here, which we will then be running back over here to our system. So that should be good. They are now all connected. It doesn't really matter what you plug it into over here. So there we go. You can see these are lit up because then the cable connects these, which are then connected to the crafters. Now the crafters have a lot of cool options, and unfortunately we're not going to be taking advantage of any of them today. I might do it eventually, but basically it allows you to use, if you wanted to see, hey, do we have, 64 printed silicone in our system? Yes. Okay, don't make any more. Do we have less than that? Okay, make some more. This is going to get on my nerves so bad. Where is this guy? Oh. But basically it allows you to kind of see how many items are in your system, which is, it's another block that allows you to do that, but you hook them up together, and then you say when there's a redstone signal, produce this block that's required in the crafter, and it's pretty nice. I plan on using it for a lot of different things if we want to make sure we always have a stack or so. But we're not going to use it for this because we're going to have a lot of patterns going into each one of these, and so we're not going to be able to have enough detectors, I think they're called. Let's take a look. If we go to refined storage, it's right here. So yeah, the detector is the item, the one that senses the item levels, and then you'd have to have a lot of them around here to actually hook them up. So yeah, that's the only reason we're not going to be doing it. But now that we have this set up over here, we've got the crafter, we can take our pattern and put it in there. So if we put that in there, if you hold shift, you can see what the pattern does. And if we come back over here and we go to silicone, if we were to throw some of these in there, it's a little deceptive because you can't actually see crafting if you have them in there. So if you're checking to see if you've hooked it up right, remember to take out the printed silicone. I was testing out a setup for this in creative to make sure it all was going to work properly before I came on camera and made a total fool out of myself. And I was getting super confused because I had some printed ones in here and didn't remember to take them out to check that we could craft it. But now if we really wanted to, we would be able to craft this. So you'd click on this, you'd say how many you want to craft. So let's say 10, click start. And then remember, it says we've got 10 available, and to craft 10, you got to click start again. Now if we come up here, you can see this is in process, and it should be going in here eventually, I think. Is it? Huh. It should go in here. Let's put the speed upgrades in and figure out what's going wrong here. So there's the crafter. It should be able to put items in there, I think. Maybe not. Maybe because it's hooked up like this, it can't put items in there. I'm not actually sure. Yeah, so these are hooked up. Only two solderers are hooked up to this system? Huh. What happens if we do that? Okay, I'm a little confused as to why only 2 solderers are registering as being hooked up to the system right now. I might hop off camera and figure out what is going... Oh, wait, no. So we have 3 solderers right here. This one is using more. And for some reason, it does not want to do that crafting. Okay, so I'll figure out what's going wrong off camera, and then we'll hop back and get the rest of this stuff set up. Let's all just have a moment of silence for me before I know you guys will absolutely tear into me in the comments section because I put the importers on the back instead of the bottom, and that is the problem. I suspect it was either pulling the stuff out of the what it was trying to craft in before it could craft it, or it just wasn't even registering it at all. So now it works perfectly fine, and it actually set up a lot better, but yeah, that was rough. So I just have this running down here now. Now, I'm just going to ask you guys nicely, like, let's not rip on me for that, you know? It's been a rough enough day. I had an 8 a.m. this morning. It's been a rough day. So it's okay. So that's done. So this can craft it perfectly fine now. So let's go in here and let's just do a little proof of concept. So we have this right here. Boom. We want to craft 10. Start. Come over here. and look at how fast it goes. And now we can toss the rest of these upgrades in here and in here. Okay, so not the end of the world, you know, it works. So now we got to get the rest of the pattern set up, which means we can come in here and we can dump all this stuff off and come down here, put these patterns in, clear that out, and we got to start going through and getting stuff. So if we look at all these different ones that we have to make, we've of course got the base, which is the printed silicon, and then after that we need to make all of these different bases right here, and then they get combined eventually. So we need to make the printed basic processor, printed improved, and printed advanced. So we need diamond, gold, and iron. Now I actually don't think we have any diamonds in here, but we have a piece of iron, and we've got the basic processor. Then we've got the, eventually we're going to need this, so we're going to pull that out. We've got the printed silicon, and what is this? Printed basic processor. Do we have any of these combined? We definitely should. They're somewhere in here. Okay, there's the basic processor. We need gold ingot, and then we need diamonds. So we're going to need 2 diamonds, which means we are going to head downstairs and snag some from that chest. So while I'm doing all this, I guess I can tell you guys a little bit about my fun experience in differential equations. So you guys probably won't get this if you haven't taken differential equations yet, but a lot of you guys have, and a lot of you guys have said that you enjoy the stories because it's like you reminiscing. I know there's a better way to process this, by the way, but a lot of you said it's like you reminiscing a little bit. So I went in to take my quiz in class today. I have one every other class because I have it twice a week for an hour and 15 minutes. So I go in today to take my quiz, and I have, it's on, basically, it's mainly on, I would say, Euler's method. I think it's called Euler's method. Euler's something. You'd know it if you were in DiffEq. It's the whole like delta t. You're going on different steps, and it allows you to approximate certain things about an equation. But yeah, so we were going over stuff like that today, and I had a quiz on it, and it was 5 different possible answers that you could go through on like a table that you had to set up. And so I'm going through, and after the first answer, everything becomes 0. So I was like, there's no way this is right. But it was because once the first answer became 0, every subsequent answer became 0. Which, is this is running out of power. This is running out of power. It's because this is running downstairs. Why is this running? This should not be running right now. What? That shouldn't be running. It's because it's got an energy buffer, I think. So now this whole system, great. We gotta wait for it to power back up. That's phenomenal. Oh, it's because it's nighttime too. Okay. Well, this explains why we need power storage. But yeah, so I was taking the quiz, and I was sitting there, and I was like, there's no way it's 0. Because it was like the first answer was 1 and -1, and the delta t was 1. And so it would become 1 plus -1 times 1, which was 0. And then every answer after that was also 0. And I was so freaked out because I was like, this has to be wrong. There's absolutely no way that they would do this. But that was correct. So I spent about 10 minutes being freaked out on a 12-minute quiz, and then in the last 2 minutes, I just scribbled in 0 for everything and got it right. So, fun little story. Wasn't fun for me in class. The last thing I want to do is get a bad grade on my first quiz in that class. So, where do we need to go? We need, where'd the gold processor go? There it is. Printed improved processor. So now we got to make the recipe for this. So, we get that, create that. So these 2 are done, so we've got that. And then on the next one, we already have the diamond has been processed. So put a diamond in, get this. There we go. And then these 3. Now I have a choice. I can leave this one for just the printed silicon, which I think is the best idea. This one can be these 3, and then this one can be combining all of them. I know that's not the best use. We eventually, if we need to use these for other things, like if I ever want to set up the automated upgrades, where is this dude? If I set up the automated upgrades, we can easily combine, we could combine all of them if we really wanted to, because of how smart this stuff is when it comes to processing things. But for now, we can separate them just to kind of expedite the process if we're doing a lot of them at once. So we leave these in here. These should all be correct. And then over we come into here, and we got to start combining these to do it manually. So we're going to have 1 piece of printed silicon. So we'd say this one combined with this one will get us this one. There we go. Then we need to actually combine some of these then too, because I don't know, we should have these, so we have the improved process. I already have that in my inventory too. So we say this plus this one equals, oh, clear that. I don't even know how to get rid of that. There's probably an easy way, but put these in here. This one plus this one is that one. There we go. So we got both of these. And then the last one we need to do is the diamond one, which we actually have to process. Oh wait, we need redstone for these too. What am I doing? Okay, we gotta clear those and put redstone in here. It didn't occur to me that we don't just combine those, we put redstone. So we need this redstone and this diamond one put together to make that other one, and then we need to put another diamond in here because we need to remake the other piece of this. So we've got the advanced one, and there's the diamond one coming in here. So we can reset these patterns very easily, or we should be able to. I believe if we take those out and put that in here, we can put in, so it would be diamond, redstone, not 63 redstone, and we need to, oh, we already have the silicon in here. So silicon, and then makes that. So we can re-encode this pattern. Why are these always stacked? I don't actually think that actually probably does matter. So you can add a stack size. There we go. So this one is done, thankfully. Now we can get rid of that and put that in. So it's shift left clicking if you're curious as to how to get rid of it. And this is the one that needs to get reset for that. There we go. And lastly, shift click that, get that one in there, and one more pattern. There we go. So this should be all the correct patterns. We will very quickly be able to see if it's right or not when we throw them in here, because we should be able to come over here and craft all of them, so we can do display only craftables. So we have the ability to craft this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these out, and we're going to request a bunch of them, because that should allow us to see the step-by-step crafting that goes through this. So let's get some diamonds in there, make sure we've got all this different stuff in here that we could possibly need, and then we're going to go to the advanced processor, and we're going to craft 10 of them. We're going to start, and we're going to start. So it should be making these first, it should then be making these, and then finally making these. And you can see that a lot of these go faster, and you can see that this is what we need. The machine is in use for making the advanced processors. Huh, interesting. That was glitchy right there. It looked like I clicked on that one. Okay, so the last one should just be creating these, and we should end up with 10 of them, which is actually, it's very nice that this all works. Obviously, you can see that it's a lot faster than it would need to be because we've got the silicon separate from the printed advanced stuff, but now we have 10 of those. Perfect setup for this. We can put all this back in there. That should be enough to verify that it actually works. And then I'll split these patterns between here and here. Really are not a ton of them, but we can do that anyway. Now, something I also thought would be pretty funny to do would be to automate a little bit of this crafting in here, because we're going to be making a lot of disk drives, because obviously I want to fill up all the way up here and all the way around here eventually. This solderer does not need to be there. That was for testing. Shame on me for messing that all up again. But what we're going to need is a regular crafter. Now, if we're just doing regular crafting, as far as I'm aware, we can just put the regular recipes into a crafter, let this whole thing go. It does not need to be pushing into anything like these do over here. So what we can do is come back here, and we could just throw it anywhere back here if we really wanted to. I think we can just like hide it somewhere. So we can put it right back here, and we can put a recipe in here if we wanted to. So what we're going to do is go through, and I should have a fair bit of the stuff made. I guess not a fair bit, but we can go back, and we should have a bunch of them right here. So we have 1K storage parts right here, which is great. So if we come over to the parts, 1K storage part requires that we have quartz enriched iron. So we can go in here. Do we not have any quartz enriched iron? Wow, we actually don't have any of that in here. I used up all of it. Okay, well, let's do that. And okay, I guess I wasn't typing in there. Why is it not backspacing? Do you actually have to backspace individually every time? That is awful. Okay, so let's get a bunch of this going. A bunch of it. Okay, so there we go. So we've now got this. And what was the last piece that we need? We need some glass and redstone. And silicon. But, so let's get our glass right here. Don't actually have a ton of it, unfortunately. We get our redstone. And honestly, can I make this? I should just be able to shift click this right up here, actually, shouldn't I? Wow, okay, I can shift click it right up there. Okay, I just wasted so much time. So we're going to make this. This is the pattern right here to make this. Now, because it doesn't require processing like all the other ones, we don't need to make it in the other recipe because this is going to be created when this recipe is put in. So we're going to pull that down, and now we should be able to put that back in here. Click that in there, come back in here, and then if we go to 1K and take these out, we should be able to craft one, start, and boom, it's auto crafted. There is no waste of time because it's instant. It is not a process. So there we go. So we now have that part. Now we need to go back up here, and this is going to get so much faster that we can do this. So now we're going to make this and throw it in here again. And now what we can do is test out if we have the storage. If we get rid of these and we come in here and we say we want to make one of these, we can watch that get crafted, and then it'll get crafted into this one. So that's great. So what we need is another 2 of these. So can we, I'm curious if there's a way that we can put these in there and then still craft it without taking the rest of them out. I'm sure there's a way, like a button that you hit, but we want another 2 of these. Honestly, let's just make 10. Can we make 10? I'm missing glass, unfortunately. So we can go process glass at the other base because I really want to get this all the way up to 64. So we're going to need a fair bit of glass. I don't know what we're going to need for the rest of it. And this is kind of the downside of not having all the machines over at the other base right now. I'll move most of them off camera. We're going to get a new ore processing setup for pretty much everything. So we'll throw that in there and we'll allow that to cook down. Good thing it's on furnace only. And is there anything in here like sandstone that we need to move? No. Okay. And anything in here? No. This is all just kind of junk in there. So we're getting glass. Now let's take a look at what we need for the rest of this. So do we really only need glass for this first bit? Yeah. And then for this, we need a lot of improved processors. Luckily, though, we already have the automated crafting for that. So these will get auto-crafted, and that is why we can also come in here and get all of this silicon out. So we're going to grab these, and something easy that you can do if you guys don't already know is just kind of take these clay and just make it back into blocks, and then you can feed the blocks back in there. And I have a lot of flint in here because I process cobble and turn it into gravel so that we can make the conduit binder, and then I get a lot of flint from that too. And that's where I get all of this silicon from. Eventually, you can make silicon automated production through like a cobble generator. I think there's a way to do that because I think you can create this from something else other than just clay. But this is a very fast way to get it, and it's very easy because we get a ton of clay from our quarry over here. So I don't even know, we've got over 1,000 in the system, and of course it recycles it too. So this should be more than enough to test out this whole thing. We now have this, so we can grab that and head back over. And it's actually occurring to me now that we probably want to grab some stuff while we're over here, like redstone, like gold, iron. What else would we possibly need over here? Might as well just grab more of this, more redstone. Is there anything else that we need over here? I don't think there is. I don't want to make another trip back over here. There should be nothing that we need. We have no diamonds over here. Okay, so we should be good to head out. It's about to be nighttime, so I'll actually wait over here and sleep. And then we can finish this up and get all the way to 64K, which will be awesome because then all we have to make is storage housing, which again is very easy to make. And honestly, I don't think we're going to have enough glass to make it all the way up here, but as long as we get up to like 16K, I will be very happy, which is just the next portion. Maybe we will have enough glass. Who knows? Also, you know, while we're waiting for it, we can get rid of this death waypoint. You probably saw it in chat. I died over here because right when we got the text that we were going to have no classes past 2 o'clock, my roommate has lab at 2, and he had just walked out the door, so I like scrambled to get out the door and be like, hey, you know, you don't have any lab today, rejoice, because he was in a pretty bad mood. But I left my computer, and the second I left my computer, I died to something called Husk, and then I had to get revenge on him, of course. So yeah, that's kind of how that happened. I lost like 20 levels, kind of annoyed that I didn't make the medallion that you guys have been saying to make yet, but I'm lazy, so that's why we had yet to craft it, and that's why I lost the levels, unfortunately. So let's hit J. Oh man, why did the UI change? Where are waypoints? Waypoints, remove. There we go. Okay, so come over here, dump all this stuff into the system, got more than enough storage space for it, and as you can see, the clay I was talking about, we got a ton of it over here, an absolute ton of it. Okay, so to start getting back to the crafting, we need to do storage parts in here, so we'll take this out, and we need to make 2 more of these, but we're going to make 10. Why does it say missing glass? We definitely have, oh, I didn't put, never mind. I was going to say I didn't put the glass in there. Okay, we're going to actually only craft like, I guess we can craft 10 of these because nothing else uses glass other than the initial ones. So there we go. Crafting 10 of them, which means all these are getting crafted. Huh. Okay, where did we run into a snag for this? Basic processor. So are those going to get crafted over here? Yes, they are. So it just takes a little bit of time for them to all process, and these should eventually get crafted in here. Okay, yeah, so they're getting finished up. It's going to be all the basic processors taking time to get created. I don't know if there's any other way to speed those up. If we look at the speed upgrade over here, there is a crafting upgrade. I don't really know what that does. If that can go in the crafter, I assume. I don't know what it would do for that, though. But we're at 8 right now, and then we'll get to 10. And click that in there anyway, because we don't need it anymore, so that'll finish. This is processing over here. It should be done now, actually. Huh. Item processing, one more basic crafter. Is it done? Okay, so it's done. So now we got to come back up here, and the next storage part is going to be the 16K. So we're going to encode that pattern right down here, 16K. And that's basically all this stuff that we've done will allow me to auto craft up to this, which is great because if you remember the first episode we did refine storage, I spent forever crafting to the 16K, and that's all we have right now. All this stuff in here, and it's not a lot of stuff, but it's only taking up like half of a 16K, so that's pretty great. So now if we go again to storage, and I know this isn't the most exciting thing, but we can go to this and we can say we want to craft 3 because that is what we're going to need to craft the next portion of this. And it can almost immediately craft it because we've got a bunch of these different parts. But the main thing we're going for is 64K. And because of that, we are going to come in here and we're going to make a pattern actually for storage housing too. And so that means that we're going to steal some patterns from over here. Because if we make the pattern for storage housing, that'll allow us to make the automated 64K one. So we want a pattern for storage housing in there, and then again we want another pattern for, let's get 64K. So there we go, we got a pattern for the 64K storage part, which again will go in there, and now we should be able to make it, which is pretty great. So let's go to storage, and we should now be able to craft this, start that, and it should, oh, it is already made. Okay, and then we're going to make this, start the crafting on that. So now we both have these parts, and now we are going to be making them up in here. So that should be this, and this gets made into that. So we're going to put that pattern in there and throw these back in here. And the last pattern we are going to make is going to be, oh, don't want it in there. Got to clear this, got to steal the last pattern from down here. It's going to be for the iron combined with nether quartz to make the quartz enriched iron, and that's going to be the last one that goes back there. So now let's go to our storage and we can auto craft this last piece, which is great. So now we have the complete auto crafting to make a 64K storage disk, completely automated crafting to do that. So now all I have to do is make all the different disk drives, which are not rough to make manually. They do take a solderer, but all we have to do is make those, and I can automatically request once I move all my resources over here to make this, and boom, look at how much storage we have now. All this stuff in there is only 12%, and I know that doesn't seem like a ton. I've been told by plenty of people that the Applied Energistics stores a lot more per storage disk, but with the rate at which we're going to be able to make these, I'm really not concerned about that. So I believe that is going to be it for today, guys. I know it might have been a little bit dry at the end of the episode because we were just doing a bunch of auto crafting, but I do find that pretty interesting. Hopefully you guys do too. It's really exciting for me because it makes things a lot easier for me. So, every click I make in here, I'm like, man, I'm saving hours upon hours of crafting that I'm gonna have to, or that I would have to do in the future. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please feel free to give it a like, as it does help me out a lot. And I want to say again, thank you guys so much for all the support. It's going to take me a while to get through the comments. There have been so many comments on the most recent episode saying, we love the name, the rebranding is a great idea, we love you playing this series even more than Surviving With, all that great stuff. So I can't thank you guys enough for all the support with the changes in the channel. But I've been doing my best to, try and keep up with the comments and everything, reply to everyone. So thank you guys again. Thanks for watching. Thanks all around for, for everything. Thanks for being you. because you guys are amazing. And that's going to be it for today, guys. I'll talk to you later.